Top stories from around the island. To the point. Without the fluff. Puerto Rico headline news. Please subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell notification.
Hello and welcome to Puerto Rico Headline News for Sunday, June 14th, 2020. If this is your first time here, please subscribe to this channel. Please don't forget to like and share this content as well. It's hard to believe we're now into our third month of the lockdown here in Puerto Rico. And as mentioned in a press conference this past Thursday, June 11th, the governor has now passed an executive order that takes us into the third phase of this lockdown. So let's go ahead and see what exactly that entails and what changes have taken place. So let's go ahead and get into this article here provided by El Nuevo Dia. This article did come out, like I mentioned, June 11th, a little after 6 o'clock, after the press conference that was given by Governor Juan Vasquez. And this is the new executive order. So let's go ahead and get right into it so we can see what changes have taken place. Well, the first major part of this third phase, they've eliminated the lockdown. I guess the lockdown that was imposed on March 15th. And that lockdown required everyone to stay at home. So you were only allowed to leave your home for emergency purposes, going to the hospital, visiting the pharmacy, or getting provisions at the supermarket. Otherwise, you were to stay home. Well, that portion has been eliminated. So there's no lockdown anymore as of Tuesday, June 16th. So let's keep that in mind. Although there isn't a lockdown in effect no longer as of Tuesday, June 16th, there is a curfew. The curfew portion remains in place, although the time has been adjusted. So as of right now, up until Tuesday, the curfew was 7 p.m. It ran from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. Now that's been extended. The curfew now begins at 10 p.m. and it runs right through 5 a.m. So that's a major change that's been provided again. The lockdown has been eliminated, so we can be outside. It doesn't matter if we're going to the supermarket or any emergency situation, we can be outside. That lockdown has been eliminated, although the curfew does stay in place, but it begins at 10 p.m., runs through to 5 a.m. So this is part of the new measures that will take effect on Tuesday, June 16th, under the new executive order. Well, let's cover exactly what other additional changes are involved in this new executive order. And it mentions here, so although the lockdown has been eliminated, the curfew remains, which begins at 10 p.m. at night until 5 a.m. in the morning. There's a required use of face masks while you're in public. So this is mandatory. The practice of using face masks is mandatory, along with the practice of social distancing. This still remains in force. Now here's a nice change. All businesses will be authorized to open from Monday to Sunday, including supermarkets and retail businesses. So the previous executive order that's going to expire, businesses were not allowed to open on Sunday. Only supermarkets and pharmacies were allowed. Now all businesses will be able to operate on Sunday as well. Another part of this executive order, government employees should return to work to their respective government agencies starting on Tuesday, June 16th. The governor did stress that if you do not show up to work without any justification, their vacation days will be deducted if they do not report to work in these government agencies. Next in line, there's the opening of spas and beauty clinics. as long as they keep the appropriate safety measures in place as far as face masks and social distancing, will be able to open up along with the capacity. So we're going to get into that as far as an adjustment to the capacity in these businesses. Museums are going to be able to open, advertising agencies, therapy centers, film industry operations, and all kinds of professional services. Now, there was a restriction or a limit on how these businesses or how many people could be in a business. So it's increased from 25% to now 50%. So the occupation that's allowed in each business is up to 50% capacity. So that has been increased. Now, as far as, let's scroll down here, as far as movie theaters and drive-ins, they're going to be able to reopen, provided again they promote the sale of tickets electronically. So you have to buy your movie tickets by electronic means. The use of masks in these spaces and social distancing measures are to be practiced. They will be emphasized. Um, so that's something to keep in mind. Now, what about beaches? Well, the opening of beaches is now authorized. The governor has asked citizens to exercise caution and judgment to avoid crowding. So we still need to maintain the social distancing. Use of face masks while you're not in the water, I believe is what she had said. Even so, she is urging or warning people not to use the opening of the beaches as an excuse to have parties there or have large meetings of big groups of people there. So that is not allowed. Now, as far as gyms, I know with the lockdown, many have asked about exercising or getting back into the groove of getting into exercising once again. Well, gyms are authorized to reopen starting June 16th. They do have to maintain and comply with the social distance of 6 feet between people. OSHA has some requirements that they need to follow. They're following the CDC guidelines as well. Now, gyms within urbanizations or condominiums or recreational centers must have a person supervising that those in attendance are complying with these requirements. So they have to have someone on site monitoring and making sure that these are social distancing is being practiced. Now, daycare centers are going to reopen on July 1st, but they're being allowed starting on Tuesday to call in their employees for training purposes and to make sure that they start to disinfect these daycare centers, and employees can take advantage of the training to be able to follow these protocols to maintain safety of everyone that'll be at these daycare centers. Public and private educational centers such as schools, campuses, and colleges. Employees may resume jobs there in order to prepare to have students attend these schools starting the following semester. So they are preparing to have students come back in the next semester. Meanwhile, summer camps are not considered in this executive order. Also, the resumption of individual sports activities, for example, are going to be allowed as long as they don't involve physical contact. For example, mentions here taekwondo, karate will not be permitted. All other individual sports, as long as there is no physical contact, will be able to resume. Now, it mentions here on July 15th, there is going to be a reopening of the island of Puerto Rico to tourism. So tourists will be able to come in starting July 15th. In preparation to this, the tourism industry here on the island is being prepared to make sure that they are prepared to receive all these tourists that will be coming in. I read on another report that the hotels will only be allowed to be at 50% capacity, and then as well as the pools, Also will be monitored to maintain social distancing, and as you're walking around, that face masks are being used. So this will be enforced, but tourism will be allowed to begin, and these tourist spots are preparing to welcome those tourists back to Puerto Rico. Now, the entertainment industry is going to have a two-phase reopening. So it mentions here that starting on June 16th, events can be held under the drive-in modality in open spaces in public and private parking lots. But then starting on July 1st, it will be the second phase of reopening that will include events in closed spaces like a coliseum or a convention center. Again, with the occupation or the capacity being followed according to their protocol. Agricultural markets, like the farm markets, the food farm markets, are going to operate under precautionary measures and social distancing, while the urban train and the Metropolitan Authority of buses will not resume yet for the moment, but they will. They Uber services have been authorized, taxis and public transportation carriers. So this new order will be valid for the next 2 weeks. There's also some good news that came out today from reported by El Nuevo Dia for today, Sunday, June 14th, and it has to do with El Yunque. So they're happy to announce that the El Yunque National Forest should be open very shortly. And the way they're going to do this is they're going to have a reservation system in place very soon so that you can make a reservation to be able to visit El Yunque. Now, because of the facilities being damaged or taking some damage, they are in the process of fixing the facilities. But until then, there will be a 30% maximum capacity for those visitors that'll be visiting at any given moment El Yunque. But still, very good news that they are planning on opening up, especially for those that have postponed their trip here to Puerto Rico. Now they'll be able to have something to do besides staying at the hotel and being at the beach. El Yunque is one of the largest tourist attractions here in Puerto Rico, so it's certainly exciting to be able to see it open once again, and they're doing it the right way with a reservation system online, and then 30% maximum capacity. Face masks will still be required, of course, and the practice of social distancing will still be required. So some very nice good news besides the third phase that we now enter starting on Tuesday, June 16th. Thanks for watching. This is Puerto Rico Headline News.